Hey everyone, my name is Berna and I'm a coach here at Manifesting Made Easy. And today I want to talk a little bit more about revision, shifting realities. Thank you so much, everyone, for your lovely comments on my last video. Someone was asking about if I could give more examples of shifting realities and revision. So, let's jump into it. Neville Goddard said that revision was his kind of most important technique that he talked about. So I really do think it is like the fastest way to experience what we want, because anytime that people will talk about being stuck in the old story, right? It's honestly just remembering that we have a specific past creates a certain version of ourselves right now, and therefore creates the same self going forward. So when people talk about, stepping into our new identity, it really is about revision. So, one way to do this is to just use affirmations, right? So every time we talk about something that we want to be true right now, we're also saying that it has always been true. So my person and I are in a loving, amazing, magical relationship, and we always have been, right? My person treats me beautifully, and they always have treated me beautifully. Stuff like that. So, so that is what I would recommend. You can also use your imagination, just like you're imagining a present scene, right, with your person. Everything's wonderful, you're together, everything is harmonious. See if you can also imagine, kind of a montage, I think is a good way to think about it, right? So it's not like you have to like sit down and think about an entire relationship with your person that was totally different. But imagine you're watching a romantic comedy and you see this kind of like montage with the happy music, right? And you can even like pick out a song for the two of you that would represent this. And then just imagine these sort of like moments, right? From the time you met your person, they were so in love with you, everything was so incredible, so perfect, so easy. And then just replay that little montage over in your mind again and again, right? Every day. And, if there's a certain area of your life that was difficult, you might want to revise that too. I mean, some people with difficult childhoods, really need to revise everything. And I think the most difficult part of revision is not giving value to that, to that past we believed in before, right? To like our real, you could say, past, right? Some people will be like, "Oh no, I don't want to imagine something different because again, we've been told this really messed up limiting belief by society." I hear it so often. It's like, "Oh, you wouldn't be the person you are if you hadn't had those terrible experiences," right? That is so messed up. So we really have to change that in our minds and be like, "No, I don't need suffering now, and I never did. I have always been my true self," right? Even if I'm shifted over into this reality where I'm on my perfect timeline, where everything is amazing and it always has been, it doesn't mean that I'm somehow not my real self, or that I'm not going to be a kind, wonderful person. Whereas in this other reality where I had all this suffering, that's what made me kind and wonderful. We really have to get out of that thinking. It's such a trap. And I see it so often, and I honestly think it's the hardest thing about revision because people are so just committed to that life of suffering, right? They have pride about it, like, "Oh, I went through all of this, and and I survived, and it made me who I am." But when it comes to manifesting, we just know that that is not helpful. So, I would really recommend that if you're feeling stuck on any level in any area of your manifesting, to go back further, right? Don't just do present tense affirmations. Do affirmations that will revise the whole experience, right? So, and it can apply to anything. It doesn't have to just be about your SP. It can be about money, right? Imagine growing up in a reality where like there was always plenty of money, right? Your caregivers had plenty of money, right? And if you didn't have good caregivers growing up, give yourself permission to imagine better caregivers. You can imagine that they adopted you, you can imagine that they are your real parents, and they can be anyone, you know, it can be someone from a movie, it can be, some kind of fantasy being, like a mystical, magical being of some kind. Whatever makes you feel safe when you imagine it, right? It can even be a pet. I've had clients be like, I just want to imagine that I was raised by my pet, you know? So yeah, because again, our mind really does like know how to heal and how to feel good, but sometimes we just get in the way of it because again, we can be so committed to, remembering and focusing on suffering. So and again, yeah, just kind of the way humans have evolved, we have a bit of a negativity bias, right? So we have to just um, you know, get out of that habit. Be like, no, 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 no. Every time we find ourselves doing that, or thinking about our person in a way of like, oh, but they're stubborn, or like, oh, but what if I call them and then they're mean or angry? We just have to be like, no, that's not who they are. That's not who they've ever been, right? Because again, that's thinking from that old reality that we've shifted out of. So yeah, you really just want to stay on track with this one and like, no, my person has always been kind. We've never had a fight. And you'll find that like as you do this process of revision and just repeating this to yourself over and over, you'll find that your person doesn't even remember that old reality. And it's really funny when it happens because you'll be like, oh, when we had that fight, and they'll be like, what fight? They don't remember it at all. And I think the temptation in those moments is to be like, when we had that big fight and you want to get into it again. And to just be like, no, and just congratulate yourself instead and be like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I shifted into this reality where, like, that didn't even happen. And then eventually you too will have, like, new memories of your relationship together. So it's not like these things that happened, right, in the 3D are always going to bother you. That's the magic of revision. It actually changes the past. I know it sounds kind of out there, but it really does. It really does work. And it's so exciting that we're able to do that. So anyway, that is what I would recommend. And yeah, if you have any questions about that, or if you want to work with me personally, I do offer video coaching sessions to anyone, anywhere in the world. You can click on my link, should be a link in the description box below. And yeah, that's all I have for the moment. But again, leave your comments and questions and let me know what you'd like me to address in the next video. Okay, thanks everyone. Bye now.